Brothers and sisters, as I was preparing for this liturgy and reflection for the homily, I came across words that I hadn't seen for a while, words that were spoken by Pope St. John the 23rd. By the way, in case you didn't realize, we have a statue of St. John the 23rd on the tower of our church here in the front, and the statue faces the right of the tower, in case you never realized who that's up there. That's John the 23rd, certainly treasured for all that he did for the church during his pontificate. But the words of St. John Paul the 23rd were significant, and I thought that they are useful here with reading the scriptures today. He said, "The substance of the ancient doctrine of faith is one thing, the way it is presented is another." My friends, that statement is equivalent to the words that also concluded today's gospel. And the gospel read, "Then every scribe who has been instructed in the kingdom of heaven is like the head of a household who brings from his storeroom both the new and the old." John the 23rd set before the church's bishops the task that would occupy them for quite a few years. They were to take the good news of Jesus Christ and proclaim it anew to people who live in our world today. That wasn't simply done by repeating the words of the gospel. The bishops were to show how the gospel sheds light on the circumstances of our contemporary life. Yes, the bishops took up the challenge that Pope John the 23rd put before them, and they responded by writing a document whose opening words are these: "The joys and the hopes, the griefs and the anxieties of people of this age, especially those who are poor or in any way afflicted, are the joys and the hopes and the anxieties of all the followers of Christ. All who preach and teach are to bring out from the church's storehouse both the new and the old, so that people can see their lives in the light of the gospel." My friends, Pope Francis has also called all the Christian faithful to be missionary disciples whose lives bear witness to their faith in Jesus Christ. Not a vague faith, but a faith that is embodied in the lives of so many people who find life worth living because of their belief in Jesus Christ. And that belief certainly is a treasure. That's precisely the message that St. Paul gave to us in his letter to the Romans, which we heard as our second reading of the liturgy. And he wrote, "We know that God makes all things work together for the good of those who love God." Those are not just pious words. The apostles' words assure us about the future that God has in store for us based on what God has already done for us. St. Paul tells us by that eternal decree that indeed God has already glorified us by giving us all a share in God's life through our baptism. That's what we are called to live, is our baptism, and by that sharing in God's own life. The faith that we have in God is, of course, that treasure, that pearl of great price that the gospel reading speaks to us. Although we might treat it like a treasure, It's not something that we hoard, but something that we share. People who live by faith, who cherish the spiritual dimension of their lives, are in the best position to show the relevance of faith in life today. We, you and I, are to proclaim the gospel in our day with its joys and hopes, its griefs and anxieties. There is no substitute to a life that gives testimony to the joys of the gospel. Brothers and sisters, that certainly is a great challenge facing the church today. There is an alarming number of people who no longer have a place for the church in their lives, asserting that they are spiritual but not religious. The faithful need to hear again the words of Jesus as they respond to that challenge, the challenge to bring from their storehouse both what is old and what is new. My friends, we need to show our sisters and our brothers that they can share the joys and the hopes, the griefs and the anxieties. And we need to demonstrate the vital importance of a life of faith and the value of communion with those who recognize the importance of our faith, that faith in a life worth living. Yes, this is our challenge. This is our challenge to help our children, help our friends, help our neighbors see that our faith in Jesus and in the gospel gives meaning, purpose, and value to our lives. Yes, our faith is that pearl of great price, and we want to help all to help recover them. My friends, I want to take this opportunity now to introduce and welcome Sister Maria Conchita from the Carmelite Sisters of St. Teresa to speak about their mission today and living that mission and asking for help for her congregation. Sister.